Today we're going to be reloading a cartridge in a grease gun. It's a pretty easy task if you know what you're doing. I'm going to show you a surefire way to load this thing and have it work every time for you after you reload it. One of the other things that we're going to do here in this video is I'm going to show you exactly how to check the levels in your grease gun without opening it up. If you've seen my previous video, one of the comments from I'm a Farm Boy too, he had actually suggested another way to undo an airlock, and it had me up at night, and I'm going to have to test it out now, and really hope it works out. So let's talk about the best way to prevent an airlock, and that is step number one is to not actually ever run your grease gun out of grease. You need to be able to check the grease levels in here. If you're somebody who hasn't actually used one of these very often, you know, you're just using it to grease up your quad after a ride, or you know, some task that you do once a year, there is a way that we can actually check here to see how much grease is in the grease tube. So inside here we've got a piston, and this rod here actually slides inside of that piston. So right now the piston that is spring loaded is pushing the grease up, and we don't know where that is right now, but if we simply pull this rod out till it stops, we actually have an equivalent of, let's take a new tube here. This is the way that it would be loaded in the grease gun. So we would have the equivalent of this space here to the top. We've got about a half a tube of grease. Okay, so we got here, top of the piston, up here, and it shows we've got just a little bit more than half a tube. So we're safe. We won't have to worry about running out of grease at this point. Now let's empty the gun, see what it's like when it's getting down towards the end. So let's check it here. Let's see if this has moved. Okay, so we'll pull this out, and you can see that the tube is now shorter. And if we were to do this now, we've got getting about a third to a quarter of a tube left here. Now you might pull your grease gun and you get about an inch, and usually when I'm doing a greasing task I need a little bit more grease than that, so I'm actually going to stop right there and I'm going to replace the cartridge. So wait a little bit here, we're going to reload that back in this cartridge a little bit later. So let's go through how to replace the cartridge without getting any air inside. I've got an inch of rod here, so I know that I'm okay, that I have grease at the top of my gun here. So what I'm going to do here is get a hold of my piston, pull back till I can find that locking mechanism that's here. Okay, so hopefully you can kind of see that that's twisted into place here. And then we're going to undo the grease gun. So you can see that we've got a little bit of a hole there, but you can see that the important part, so our piston here is still fully covered with grease, and that's critical. That's why we do this a little bit early. All right, so we can pull the old grease tube out, and we're going to take our new grease tube. Okay, and I got greasy fingers here now. We're going to take this end off first. The cardboard end is the one that has to go in first, because the piston needs to slide up inside that cartridge. Okay, so we're going to take this off, and what I like to do, if I were to drop this in here right now and push that in here, you can see that I've got a cavity here. I've got a bit of an airspace, and I want to get rid of that. So what I do with, I got both ends off. I'm just essentially going to shake the, try to give myself some room here. I'm going to try to shake that down, You can see how it's moving inside the can here. You can actually see on the back side how it's sliding into the tube here. So this here is going to give us everything that we need to be successful here. So that's going to go in there. Okay. And then we're going to screw that onto our grease gun. Now we don't have to worry about the excess here because it's actually just going to get pushed back down into the tube. Make sure you're not cross-threading. Should go nice and easy. And that, I'm going to actually tighten it right up. Okay, and then we're going to release this thing here. We'll push it all the way back down. It's going to find that spot. And we should not have any problems here. Let's just verify that. Okay, nicely coming out of there. No problems with airlock. And if you do yours that way, you're not going to have any problem with airlocks. Okay, so if you've been watching this channel at all for any length of time, you know that I like to test things, right? So is test a theory that one of the viewers has had, and I'm actually quite excited about this particular thing because I can actually see how it could work. This suggestion came from I'm a farm boy too. If this guy's got any time on the farm, we know that he's been around grease guns. So we're going to try and create an airlock again. So we need some air in there anyways, and we're just going to pack this back in here. If you ever do this, make sure you're packing it in the end that's got the cardboard or the plastic end. Don't use the side that's got the tin because trust me, I've learned that the hard way. I probably, went and scooped out a little bit of grease here and it just doesn't turn out that great. Okay, so we're going to put this cartridge back in the grease gun to see if we can't get ourselves a nice little airlock. Just going to slide that in. I'm going to keep this space open here. I'm just going to screw this straight in here. Okay, so we're going to release the piston here. You can hear the air. Look at the spring coming out. Tons of air in there. We're going to show you that we have no grease coming through there. Now, I'm a Farm Boy 2's suggestion was to remove the hose. So that's what we're going to do. Listen to that. Wow, that was cool. Okay, well, it's actually bleeding air out of it right now. That was really cool. I hope you could hear that. I'm going to give it a few pumps here. So it did. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Oh, dude. You're awesome. You are awesome. All right. So we can put that back on there. I got to tell you, that was a great fix. And I'm really happy that you made that comment and suggestion, because that is definitely a surefire way to get rid of an airlock. Look at that. That's beautiful. Well, if you found some value in this video, click that thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. I want to just give a special thanks to I'm a Farm Boy 2 for your suggestion. That was absolutely awesome. I learned something today, and I'm glad that I could convey it to the viewers on this particular video. Next week, I'm going to be fixing the film on my GMC Grille. Now, my truck's a 2022, and I found a way to make this thing look like brand new again, and it actually only cost me a little bit of time. So join me next week, and I'll show you exactly how I did it.